Most people think healing is something you do, a pill you take, a workout you complete, a treatment you schedule, but the truth is far more elegant. Healing is something your body is already designed to do. It just waits for the right moment, and that moment is night. When you fall asleep, something extraordinary happens. Your brain shifts into a different mode, one that science now understands with remarkable clarity. Neural activity slows, blood flow patterns change, and a specialized cleansing system, often called the glymphatic system, activates. It begins flushing out metabolic waste, the microscopic debris that builds up during a day of thinking, worrying, staring at screens, making decisions. This waste is not harmless. Over time, it clouds mental clarity, disrupts memory, and accelerates cognitive aging. Sleep is the only time the brain can truly take out the trash. Your eyes follow a similar rhythm. Throughout the day, they absorb light, strain, dryness, and oxidative stress. Tiny tissues work continuously, converting photons into meaning, but vision, like thought, has a cost. By night, the eyes are inflamed, fatigued, and depleted of key nutrients. During sleep, tear production changes, cellular repair accelerates, and microdamage is quietly reversed. Nature built a repair window into your biology. The tragedy is that many people sabotage this window without realizing it. Heavy meals late at night spike blood sugar. Sugary desserts trigger insulin surges. Processed snacks inflame the nervous system. Alcohol fragments sleep cycles, even emotional overstimulation. Endless scrolling, constant noise keeps the brain in defense mode when it should be restoring itself. We enter bed biologically unprepared for repair. Yet this same window can become a lever for transformation. A small, intentional choice in the evening can shift your internal chemistry from stress to restoration. That is where dried fruit enters, not as a miracle cure, not as superstition, but as a biological ally that respects your body's natural rhythm. The right dried fruit delivers something rare, concentrated nutrients in a form that digests slowly and gently. Unlike refined sugar, it does not shock the bloodstream. Unlike heavy food, it does not burden digestion. It provides minerals that calm neural firing, antioxidants that neutralize oxidative stress, and natural compounds that support circulation to both brain and eyes. It becomes a signal telling your body, we are safe now, it is time to repair. This is not folklore, it is physiology. Certain dried fruits are rich in potassium and magnesium, minerals that regulate nerve impulses and help the brain transition from alertness to rest. They stabilize electrical activity in neurons, reducing nighttime microarousals that fragment deep sleep. Some contain polyphenols that cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation. Others supply vitamin A precursors and carotenoids that nourish retinal tissue, particularly during low-light recovery states. What makes nighttime unique is not just the presence of these nutrients, but their timing. During sleep, your body reallocates energy away from movement and digestion and toward cellular maintenance. Blood flow shifts inward. Hormones like melatonin and growth hormone rise. These hormones don't just regulate sleep, they orchestrate repair. They tell cells when to divide, when to rebuild, when to replace damaged components. If nutrients are present in this window, they are not used for motion, they are used for maintenance. Think of it like roadwork in a city. During the day, traffic makes repairs impossible. At night, streets empty and crews quietly restore what was worn down. Your biology works the same way. Sleep clears the traffic. Nutrition supplies the materials. This reframes the idea of eating at night. The problem was never eating. The problem was eating against your biology. The wrong foods create chaos in a system designed for calm. The right ones harmonize with it. There is also a psychological dimension here that matters just as much as the chemistry. Every evening ritual teaches your nervous system something. Most people end their day in depletion, rushing, reacting, numbing. Their final message to the body is urgency or exhaustion. But when you create a small, deliberate act, something as simple as choosing a nourishing dried fruit before bed, you change the story. You communicate care, you establish a boundary between the world's demands and your inner life. The brain responds to patterns. Repetition becomes identity. A nightly ritual becomes a neurological anchor. Over time, your body begins associating evening with safety and restoration. Cortisol falls more predictably. Sleep deepens more naturally. Healing accelerates not because of discipline, but because of alignment. This is the deeper lesson. Health is not built by force. It is built by rhythm. Modern culture teaches us to override signals, sleep later, push harder, consume faster. Biology teaches the opposite. It teaches cycles, light and dark, activity and rest, exertion and repair. When you respect these cycles, you no longer fight your body, you cooperate with it. Eating the right dried fruit at night is not about the fruit alone. It is about re-entering that cooperation. It is about choosing to participate in your own design. You are not broken. You are simply out of sync. And sync is restored not through dramatic change, but through small, precise acts performed consistently at the right moment. The night is not the end of your day. It is the beginning of your healing. What you place into your body before sleep becomes the raw material of tomorrow's clarity, memory, and vision. Every evening, you decide whether your body spends the night repairing or resisting. One choice, one habit, one signal to your biology. Healing does not require perfection. It requires alignment. Give your body what it needs when it is ready to rebuild, and let the night do the rest. There is a quiet power in discovering that one small, natural food can speak fluently to two of your most precious systems at once, the brain that interprets your world and the eyes that deliver it. We often treat these organs as separate. We think of brain food and eye health as different categories, different supplements, different concerns. But biology does not divide the body the way marketing does. It builds networks. It favors efficiency. It loves dual-purpose tools. Certain dried fruits embody that elegance. Take a fruit like the goji berry, small, wrinkled, easily overlooked. In traditional cultures, it has been eaten for centuries, not because it was fashionable, but because people observed what it did over time. Modern science now explains what intuition already knew. This tiny fruit carries compounds that travel to both the retina and the brain. Carotenoids like zeaxanthin accumulate in the macula, the part of the eye responsible for sharp central vision. The same family of antioxidants reduces oxidative stress in neural tissue, protecting the delicate membranes that allow neurons to communicate. Your eyes and your brain are made of similar material. Both are rich in lipids. Both rely on constant electrical signaling. Both are extremely vulnerable to oxidation, essentially biological rust. Light exposure, stress, pollution, and mental effort all accelerate that process. What harms one often harms the other. That is why a single food can support both. Dried fruits like goji berries, dates, and raisins concentrate polyphenols, plant compounds that modulate inflammation and blood flow. They do not merely add vitamins. They influence signaling pathways. They help preserve the integrity of tiny blood vessels that feed retinal cells and neurons alike. They stabilize membranes. They reduce microdamage that accumulates silently for years before symptoms appear. This is not about instant transformation. It is about trajectory. Neurodegeneration and vision loss rarely arrive suddenly. They are the visible ends of long, invisible processes. Years of oxidative stress, decades of inflammation, thousands of nights without adequate repair. When you introduce a nutrient-dense dried fruit into your evening routine, you are not chasing a miracle. You are altering the slope of that curve, and timing amplifies the effect. At night, your body becomes more permeable to repair signals. Melatonin rises, cortisol falls, cellular turnover increases, the brain's waste clearing systems activate. The eyes shift from constant exposure to recovery mode. Nutrients consumed during this window are more likely to be routed toward maintenance rather than movement. It is as if you are placing protective agents directly into the hands of your body's nighttime engineers. What makes dried fruit especially suited for this role is its form. Fresh fruit can be hydrating and energizing, but it also delivers a rapid glucose spike. Processed sweets overwhelm the system. Dried fruit sits in a middle ground. Its sugars are bound to fiber. Its digestion is slower. Its minerals, potassium, iron, trace elements, are released gradually. Instead of shocking your metabolism, it steadies it. For the brain, this means fewer nocturnal dips in blood sugar that trigger micro-awakenings. For the eyes, it means sustained availability of antioxidants during the hours when repair enzymes are most active. There is a philosophical lesson hidden here. We are trained to believe that impact requires scale, that change must be dramatic, that health demands complexity. But nature often works through subtlety, through small agents applied at precise moments, through alignment rather than force. A single dried fruit at night is not impressive. It does not feel heroic. It will not trend. But it participates in a deeper intelligence, the intelligence of timing. Most people try to improve their minds by stimulating them more. More information, more caffeine, more pressure. They try to protect their eyes by straining them less, yet continue to live in luminous, screen-saturated environments. These strategies are defensive. They aim to reduce damage. Night nutrition is constructive. It builds. It acknowledges that the brain is not a machine to be driven, but an ecosystem to be sustained. It treats vision not as a camera, but as living tissue that must be nourished. There is also something psychologically powerful about choosing a single purposeful food. It simplifies decision-making. It removes friction. Instead of asking, what should I overhaul in my life? You ask, what will I give myself tonight? That question changes your relationship with health. It becomes an act of provision rather than correction. You are no longer fixing a flaw. You are feeding a process, and processes respond to consistency. One night does little. 100 nights reshape internal chemistry. 1,000 nights alter aging itself. This is how resilience is built, not through intensity, but through repetition. The brain learns from patterns. The body adapts to environments. When evening consistently brings nourishment rather than depletion, your biology recalibrates. Sleep deepens. Inflammation lowers. Repair becomes more efficient. The dried fruit is not magic. You are the one creating the context in which repair becomes inevitable. Every small organism in nature survives by aligning with cycles, light and dark, growth and rest. Humans forgot this when we built artificial days. Night nutrition is a way back into rhythm. You do not need to understand every molecule. You need only respect the moment. When you place a simple, nutrient-rich dried fruit into your body before sleep, you are making a quiet declaration. Expect tomorrow to be clearer than today. And over time, your body believes you. Healing is not dramatic. It is deliberate. Choose one small ally. Choose it at the right time. Let biology do what it has always known how to do. Great change often begins with something you can hold between two fingers. Most people wake up believing their morning state is random. Days the mind feels sharp, language flows, memory responds. Other days everything is fog. Words sit just out of reach. Attention drifts. We blame sleep quality, age, stress, even fate. But the truth is more precise. The way you think in the morning is largely shaped by what you give your body the night before. Cognition is not only built by effort, it is restored by recovery. Throughout the day, your brain burns through neurotransmitters, minerals, and glucose. Every decision, every emotion, every moment of focus leaves a metabolic footprint. By evening, the brain is not tired in a poetic sense. It is chemically depleted. Memory circuits are saturated. Inflammatory molecules rise. Waste products accumulate between neurons, subtly slowing communication. If nothing changes before sleep, the night becomes a struggle between repair and shortage. Your brain wants to rebuild. It wants to consolidate memory, prune excess connections, strengthen the pathways that matter. But repair requires material. It requires stable blood sugar, trace minerals, antioxidants, and calm neurochemistry. Without them, the brain still works, but less elegantly. It clears waste more slowly. It consolidates memory less efficiently. It fragments deep sleep. That fragmentation is what you experience as mental fog. The modern pattern is predictable: long days, late screens, irregular meals, sugar spikes, exhaustion masked by stimulation. We enter bed chemically wired and nutritionally empty. The brain spends half the night stabilizing chaos rather than refining clarity. Evening nutrition can reverse this pattern. When you consume a small, purposeful food before sleep, especially one rich in natural sugars, bound to fiber, minerals, and plant compounds, you stabilize the brain's environment. Blood glucose becomes steady instead of volatile. The hypothalamus senses safety. Cortisol falls. deep sleep becomes accessible. This matters because deep sleep is where memory is reorganized. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus replays the day's experiences. Neural patterns are strengthened or discarded. What you learn becomes part of you. What you no longer need is released. If this stage is shortened or fragmented, learning becomes brittle. You remember less. You adapt more slowly. You feel mentally older than you are. Dried fruits at night support this process in two ways. First, they prevent nocturnal hypoglycemia. Many people experience subtle drops in blood sugar during the night. The brain perceives this as threat and releases stress hormones, pulling you into lighter sleep. You may not wake fully, but your architecture changes. REM and deep sleep shorten. A small, slow-releasing carbohydrate prevents that signal. It tells the brain resources are available, stay in repair mode. Second, they provide micronutrients that participate directly in neurotransmitter synthesis and neural stability. Potassium regulates electrical gradients. Magnesium modulates NMDA receptors, PR, preventing overexcitation. Polyphenols reduce microinflammation that impairs synaptic plasticity. These are not abstract benefits. They translate into faster recall, steadier attention, and emotional balance. This is why what you eat at night shows up in how you think in the morning. Clarity is not a personality trait. It is a metabolic state. We tend to glorify willpower, wake earlier, think harder, push through fog, but cognition does not respond well to force. It responds to preparation. You do not wake sharp by command. You wake sharp because the night was allowed to do its work. There is a philosophical shift here that changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I perform better tomorrow? You ask, how can I make tonight more intelligent? Performance culture focuses on output. Biology focuses on input and timing. Evening nourishment becomes an act of foresight. It is a message sent forward in time. You are caring for a version of yourself that does not yet exist. The mind that will wake in the morning, that future self is shaped quietly while you are unconscious. This reframes discipline. It is no longer about resisting temptation. It is about choosing continuity. You are building a bridge between today's fatigue and tomorrow's clarity. Over weeks, the effect compounds. Memory becomes more reliable. Emotional volatility softens. The gap between intention and action narrows. People often interpret this as motivation, but it is actually neurochemistry. A brain that is well rested and well nourished resists distraction more easily. Focus becomes natural rather than forced. Even creativity responds. Insight emerges when neural networks communicate fluidly. That fluidity depends on membrane health, energy availability, and low background inflammation. Small, consistent nutritional choices alter all three. Over time, thought becomes less effortful. You stop fighting your own mind. There is also dignity in this approach. You are not hacking yourself. You are cooperating with your design. You are acknowledging that thought is embodied, that intelligence lives in tissue, that wisdom begins in cells. Most cultures once understood this. Evening meals were light, intentional, ritualized. Night was treated as sacred time for restoration. We lost that reverence when we began treating time as a commodity and the body as an accessory. Restoring a simple nighttime habit is a way back into that respect. It does not require belief, it requires repetition. Night after night, you place something small and meaningful into your body. You dim the lights. You allow the nervous system to descend. The brain learns that evening is not danger, it is transition, and the morning changes. You wake with a mind that feels available, not perfect, not extraordinary, simply ready. That readiness is power. It is the difference between reacting and choosing, between surviving the day and shaping it, between mental noise and inner order. Great thinkers throughout history understood this indirectly. They spoke of rhythm, harmony, preparation. Modern science now names the molecules and circuits, but the principle remains ancient. The mind becomes what the night allows it to become. You cannot outthink poor recovery, but you can nourish your way into clarity. Every evening is an opportunity to send resources forward in time, to build tomorrow's focus while today ends. The brain you wake with is the one you fed the night before. Choose what you want to think like. We live in the first era in human history where the eyes are rarely allowed to rest. For thousands of years, vision evolved in rhythm with the sun, brightness by day, darkness by night. Near focus for moments, far focus for survival. Now we carry artificial suns in our pockets. We stare at glowing rectangles for hours, shifting our gaze only inches, bathing retinal tissue in blue light long after dusk has fallen. The eyes were never designed for this environment. Every screen emits high-energy light that penetrates deep into the retina. Each hour of near focus strains the muscles that shape the lens. Each late-night scroll delays melatonin, confusing the biological clock that tells the eyes when repair should begin. Over time, the result is dryness, fatigue, blurred vision, headaches, and eventually, structural change. This is not simply discomfort. It is cumulative stress on living tissue. The retina is an extension of T, brain. It is made of neurons. It consumes enormous energy. It is saturated with lipids that are exquisitely sensitive to oxidation. Light itself, the very thing that allows vision, generates free radicals within these cells. In small doses, this is manageable. In constant doses, it becomes destructive. Nature anticipated this. It embedded protective pigments into the eye, carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin that concentrate in the macula, acting as internal sunglasses. These molecules absorb excess light and neutralize oxidative stress before it damages photoreceptors. But here is the modern problem. The body cannot manufacture these pigments. They must be eaten. In ancestral environments, they came from leafy greens, berries, and wild plants. In modern life, intake is inconsistent. Meanwhile, exposure is relentless. We have created an imbalance. More stress, fewer defenses. This is why vision is declining at unprecedented rates. Myopia in children, digital eye strain in adults, early macular degeneration. These are not inevitable outcomes of age. They are mismatches between biology and environment. Protection does not mean retreating from technology. It means building internal resilience. Certain dried fruits quietly contribute to this resilience. They deliver carotenoids, polyphenols, and trace minerals in concentrated form. When eaten consistently, these compounds accumulate in ocular tissue. They thicken the macular pigment. They improve microcirculation. They reduce inflammatory signaling that degrades retinal cells. What makes nighttime particularly powerful is that the eyes enter recovery mode when light disappears. Tear composition changes. Cellular turnover increases, DNA repair enzymes activate. If protective compounds are present in the bloodstream during these hours, they are preferentially drawn into tissues undergoing maintenance. You are not merely feeding your eyes, you are supplying their repair crew. There is also a systemic dimension. Eye health depends on circulation. The retina is one of the most metabolically active tissues in the body. It requires constant delivery of oxygen and nutrients through microscopic vessels. Chronic inflammation stiffens these vessels. Oxidative stress impairs their function. Plant compounds in dried fruits improve endothelial health, the inner lining of blood vessels. They enhance nitric oxide signaling, allowing vessels to dilate. This improves perfusion of delicate eye structures. Over time, this means better oxygenation, more efficient waste removal, and greater resilience against degeneration. Vision loss rarely announces itself dramatically. It whispers, slight blur, night glare, dryness, fatigue. These are early signals of imbalance. Most people respond externally: new glasses, brighter screens, artificial tears. These treat symptoms. They do not address tissue health. Night nutrition works internally. It strengthens the biological foundation of sight. There is something philosophically striking about this. We often think of seeing as passive. Light enters, images appear. But vision is active. It is a continuous active interpretation. The brain constructs reality from photons. To see clearly is not merely to have sharp optics, it is to maintain the integrity of a living interface between world and mind. When that interface degrades, perception narrows, contrast fades, detail dissolves. The world becomes subtly less rich. Protecting vision, then, is not cosmetic. It is existential. It preserves access to nuance, to beauty, to information. It maintains the fidelity of your relationship with reality. In a digital age, this becomes a form of sovereignty. Screens will not disappear, work will remain visual, communication will stay luminous. The question is whether your biology remains adapted or slowly eroded. Small nightly acts tilt that balance. Eating a nutrient-dense dried fruit before sleep is not about nostalgia for nature. It is about strategic adaptation. You are upgrading your internal environment to meet external demands. There is also a behavioral consequence. A nighttime ritual interrupts endless consumption. It creates a boundary. When you choose nourishment, you are less likely to choose endless scrolling. The act itself signals closure. It tells the nervous system, the day is complete. This matters because darkness is not merely the absence of light. It is a biological instruction. It tells tissues when to repair. Every additional photon delays that message. By pairing nutrition with disengagement, you amplify both. The eyes receive both darkness and defense. The brain receives both quiet and material. This is how habits become ecosystems. You are not just eating, you are shaping an evening environment in which vision can endure. The deeper lesson is that modern damage is rarely catastrophic. It is incremental, and so must be protection. You cannot undo thousands of hours of screen exposure with one gesture, but you can change the trajectory. You can reduce the slope of decline. You can give your eyes a fighting chance. Over months, pigment density increases, tear quality improves, fatigue recedes, contrast sharpens, not because of magic, but because biology responds to supply. This is how longevity works. Not by resisting time, but by feeding repair. Every night, your eyes ask a silent question: will you give me what I need to recover from the light? Most people never answer. You can. Vision is not preserved by wishing. It is preserved by rhythm, supply, and respect for darkness. Protect your eyes while you sleep, and they will continue to reveal the world to you while you wake.